What's up, guys? Welcome to 2025. Today we're gonna talk about pretty much everything when it comes down to DPS classes, what's good, what's bad, my first impression, and what you can expect from the spec playing on PTR right now. Now again, this is a subject to change. This is most likely gonna change, guaranteed it's gonna change, so don't take everything I say today close to your heart. This is pretty much first impression and how your class or spec plays out as of now speaking. Major tunings have not arrived yet. They're potentially going to be tier set changes and most likely going to be class changes. So this will pretty much be for the funsies for all of you out there on Twitch and YouTube. Again, I want to make a disclaimer. This is not a tier list. It's just first impressions. And if you take everything I say today close to heart and reroll based on my initial thoughts, then you're an idiot. That's all I got to say. Okay, so don't take it. Don't take anything into close to heart. And now let's begin from the bottom. The tier set that doesn't work right now, and that's going to be Affliction Warlock. Now Affliction Warlock itself, it's not in a bad place. The damage capability is definitely there, especially when I played it. It feels like every 2 minutes it did extraordinary amount of damage. Good prio as well. Single target was decent. Now the tier set itself doesn't work at all, which makes it problematic to judge the performance of the spec. If tier set works, I believe they're going to be definitely above average performance. Now, keep in mind that I still am an advocate of Affliction Warlock having either Veil Taint double charge or make Veil Taint like 20 seconds cooldown, so it kind of syncs with the Pandemic Window of Agony. Because Pandemic Window of Agony is something that expires if you don't have... it expires and you have a choice. Do I manually apply Agony to like 10 targets, like 5 targets, or do I just wait, let it expire, and then apply Veil Taint after 10 seconds, Like, all of this most definitely is a question mark for me, and I don't like this, and I hope Blizzard hears me so they can change it, because it's definitely frustrating to play. But I can't judge the spec once again so far, because the tier set is not being fixed yet. It will soon be, however. Shaman. Shaman is a spec that unfortunately currently the set does not work at all. Zero. And I was unable to PTR test the spec. If they fix the tier set, I will have better conversation about Ellie. Again, that's my main after all. AG was removed. Big L. I'm a big advocate for the tier set. I believe it can create very good builds. I don't like the P-Wave change. I think it's horrendous to play, and I will most likely not play P-Wave unless they tune it and buff it in the upcoming weeks or months. That's all I can say for now. I don't know the actual performance. I don't know the actual fun. There's a new animation of Lightning Bolt. That's all it is. Once they fix it, I'll get back to you. My first impression from Fire Mage when I played it / watched it and talk about with you the crafters, I mean, all of them are saying only one thing. Fire Mage currently is extremely good. The tier set is very fun to play. It's powerful. The spec is very tanky. It does good single target, does good AoE damage. It does great damage on low level keys because you play Flame Strike now. So I don't know anything better than Fire Mage right now. It's just absolutely fucking cracked, It's just absolutely cracked. If I could say cracked as fuck, here we go. So I think let's rename the tier to cracked as fuck and put Fire Mage there, because I don't think any other spec deserves to be there. Any other spec. Let's go Destruction. I think Destruction Lock is a spec a lot of people have been sleeping on. After the most recent changes to Destro, I really like the gameplay change, because now you also shift your prio a little bit towards Chaos Bolting as well. On top of the usual Rain of Fire gameplay, the channel bolts with your tier set actually looks kind of interesting to play, because you have an option of several builds. Although currently, I guess the traditional Rain of Fire mastery stacking is actually still a thing. But I like the two targets cleave. I like to play Mayhem and AoE as well. It creates kind of a fun gameplay. You're pretty tanky. You have a decent utility and they do great AoE damage. Now, the single target sometimes could be problematic if you don't have Inferno, unless you get procs. But I guess it depends on the heal talents you're playing. I think overall it's a good spec so far, especially on the higher level keys. Shadow Priest. I don't really like how they play the the spec plays. You know, I'll put it in, I would say it's meh, because on the high level keys you're still gonna do good damage because the mobs live longer. You can use your whole void form damage. That's definitely the case, sure. But on a low level keys, when mobs die way too quick, it feels like Shadow Priest is just dog shit, you know. Now there's several things they can do. They can make you have a several charges of Shadow Crush. That will solve a lot of problems, because if you don't have Shadow Crush and you go into the pool, you do negative damage. That's literally not fun. The tier set itself on Shadow Priest is also bugged and is extremely RNG with the PI shit. I'm not a big fan of it personally myself. But I cannot lie and tell you Shadow Priest doesn't do like Shadow Priest single target is crispy as fuck. 2 targets and spread cleave is great. And if the mobs live longer than, let's say, 20 seconds, then it is still good. You know? So I'm happy with the performance on Shadow Priest on high level keys, even though you didn't get any changes so far. The playstyle itself hasn't really shifted for me. I play the same talents as I played in season 1. Perhaps they are better cook out there. But so far I would say meh for them. Balance Druid. I think Balance Druid is one of the easiest specs to rate. In my opinion, it's cracked as fuck. I don't think it's as cracked as fuck as Fire Mage, because once again, balance capabilities in AoE are exceptionally good. They are exceptionally good during cooldowns especially. Single target is something that they definitely needs a little bit of more love. Maybe Star Scourge buffs, maybe something else, I don't really know, but the single target is a problem. The AoE is just immense. Utility hasn't really changed as much for balance. They're pretty much same old, same old. Arguably durability now should be slightly tibbity better. Very slightly. So that's pretty much about balance so far. Yeah, I don't really like to see them in this category, but I wish they were not. I think they're just too busted in AoE, dude. Maybe getting a nerf too. We'll see. I don't know. But definitely good spec so far. Don't sleep on it. So far, Demonology Warlock is the only spec that I'm very convinced that is likely going to end up above average performance-wise, because their tier set is exceptionally strong. The tier set offers you very good flexibility, provides you with a consistent damage, great single target, and most importantly, good burst if you get the proc itself. You know, if you get the RNG proc too. I'm a very big fan of the set, and I'm a very big fan of Demonology. There could be also a case where Demo actually even becomes better than Destro, depending on the key level and the way you play with the pools. Maybe if it's like a small size pools and you don't do like bigger pools, then maybe Demo can be also, you know, there. I really like the playstyle and I love the tier set. I give it 10 out of 10 in terms of fun as well, visually too. So again, utility and mobility and, you know, defensive part hasn't really changed a whole bunch. I would say even not at all. But that set itself is just definitely the most fun that I've had so far across all ranged. Let us do BM Hunter. BM Hunter, in my opinion, goes to the meh category. I'm not really happy with the BM Hunter performance on single target. That's definitely something that I love them to get adjusted on, because their single target is a little bit, I mean, I don't want to say dog shit, but it's just pretty bad. At least playing the Mythic Plus build so far. The AoE has been improving, especially sustained AoE damage, much better than Season 1 in my opinion. Burst wise also pretty fun, depending on the hero talents you're playing. Again, Pack Leader is something that I played for the majority of the time, and it feels pretty good. But the performance on single target so far for BM, at least in Mythic Plus from all of my testing, felt problematic. In terms of fun, I had the least fun playing BM because it's same old, and yeah, nothing significant has been changing for them. I guess visually a little bit, but that's about it. Frost Mage. Okay, Frost Mage, in my opinion, is another easy spec to rate. It's gonna go to cracked as fuck category. Frost Mage is extremely good right now, just like Fire Mage, even though the performance of the tier set doesn't really match the performance of like Fire Mage tier set. It's still one of the better range options out there. Utility remains pretty much unchanged. The damage profile is changing based on the hero talents you're playing, because there is some difference in the rotation when it comes down to Spellslinger versus Frostfire. I think the biggest issue for me, at least so far, is how boring the set is. which is yeah. I mean, the freezing wind change is good. You don't get to spam ice lance like a monkey back to back to back anymore, which I like that. I don't like to spam one button 10,000 times. My finger even hurts from doing that, so that's nice. Refreshing playstyle. I don't want to talk about numbers yet and performance because, you know, things is gonna get a buff on nerf, so there's no point of talking about it so far. Augmentation. Okay, augmentation is a spec that I actually am not entirely convinced where it belongs so far. From all of the testing that I've done with augmentation, the personal damage itself feels extremely high, which is I'm very happy about that one. It does not buff tanks and healers anymore, but Clutch of Mates have been reintroduced to Mythic Plus, which means the damage dealers will do a lot more damage. Well, 25% more even might boost on that one, so that's gonna be quite hefty. I am not certain, however, if augmentation will end up being a top spec or a bad spec or anything at all, so I'm gonna say I don't know for now. But given the fact how Blizzard likes to swing things at the last second, I wouldn't really imagine that being a bad pickup, because again, it's the only spec in the game that is a support spec. I don't think they're gonna make it unplayable. I think it's probably gonna still end up being at a minimum good, at minimum. Arcane Mage definitely a spec that I like the set of. It feels like the tier set is in my opinion the biggest change coming from season 1 to season 2. So obviously there are a lot more changes attached to the spec, but I feel like that's kind of in my opinion, the bigger one out there. Damage profile still remains extremely bursty with a dry periods for several seconds. You have a major cooldowns, minor cooldowns as well, extremely tanky, and nothing really has changed for your toolkit so far. In terms of performance, I don't want to judge so far, but looking at the initial first several tests, I'm pretty happy with how it plays out. It's fun after all. Devastation Evoker is another meh class, I would say. I think the burst capabilities, especially when playing Flame Shaper, are definitely present in the current PTR testing. But sustained damage, especially when targets die way too quickly, you don't have any cooldowns, it feels like you are, you know, you're getting completely rinsed out. So that's not really something that I want to see in Mythic Plus. Now there is a possibility of again reevaluating the spec once the tuning has arrived, but seeing how it plays out currently, I'm not too happy with their consistent damage. It feels rather lower than what I like to see. But then again, you know, things could change for them. The burst damage is however really good. You know, that's at least some positives out there for the spec. Hunter. Okay, so in my opinion, at least from all the testing that I've tried so far, I like personally the Hunter rework because it feels extremely fun to play. But if I have to compare the power levels across all of the other specs, I still feel like there's some drought areas for you, especially on like single target without cooldowns. It just feels like it's not quite there yet. I tried both Dark Ranger, I tried also Sentinel. It feels like Sentinel is slightly better for Mythic Plus from all my testing, while Dark Ranger provides much better refreshing gameplay with Black Powder, gameplay with Trick Shots and Death Blow. So overall, this is one of the most fun specs that I've had a pleasure of testing. But if I talk about actual power, not quite there yet, but fun power, it's definitely, in my opinion so far, at least 9 out of 10. I'm pretty happy with how it plays out. Now if they tune up the damage a little bit, maybe it's gonna be better. I don't know, for me it feels like explosive shot damage is just insanely high. Maybe it was the build that I played, but even on like a single target that did a lot of damage, which I don't know if that's supposed to be the case. Either way, the new Bloodlust of Hunter does not require you to have a pet anymore. So Lone Wolf is gone for sure. But now you have a... Is it like a hawk? I think in English code, you know, shit flying around you, which you can Bloodlust without having to have a pet, which is actually pretty good quality of life changes for MM. It's actually pretty fun to see as well. So yeah, that's pretty much about it so far.